one of the comments I've gotten about the baskets is, are those deer feeders? and when I look at it, I'm like, hey, that makes sense.
That one's going on the internet, my friend. Oh yeah.
And we're back.
All right, Justin. I think we're going to move on to, looks like Jackson Park from, or it's in Vienna.
Yeah, it is in Vienna.
Not completed yet.
Not completed.
Yeah, we've only played, what, one round there?
No, I think we played 2 rounds of 9.
Of 9, yeah.
Because there was only 9 holes, but, you know, once it's completed, I'm sure we'll give a shout out and a better review about it. But right now, it's a work in progress.
I agree. All right, well, and on to a little bit further away.
Yeah, it's only about, what, maybe 35 minute drive for us from Marietta?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, something like that.
It's in a town called Reedsville, Ohio.
Yep.
It's Forked Run State Park. It's a nice little place to go. They got a fishing area. You can go camping. And there's 24 holes.
I believe so, yeah.
24-hole disc golf course.
Yeah.
It's definitely got its challenges.
And how dare you call it Forked Run?
I forgot. It's forked.
Forked, somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
So that's a great course. A lot of holes to choose from for favorites.
And the variety, because you got open field shots to, I mean, tight, narrow, like 3-foot wide gaps you got to hit. To
like 100 feet away.
Right, yeah. Like
better throw straight. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what hole it is, but I always hate that hole because you got a 3-foot wide gap to go between 2 trees, and it's only like 50 foot off the tee box.
Yeah.
And I drill a tree every time.
5.
Yeah,
is one of them.
Hole 5 is one of them. It's around like
3 or something like that. I think it's 23.
I think
or
it's
22 or somewhere.
20, maybe 21.
Maybe.
I'm trying. Yeah, I think
it's the second to the last hole.
Yeah, it's towards the tail end, but it's pretty tough.
Yeah, that one's super tight as well. Yeah, but there's a lot of them that are tight.
And then there's the dam hole.
Yeah, the dam hole.
Dam hole.
That's a good one. I lost a pig on that hole. And a pig's a putter, in case you don't know. And I believe Innova makes that. I believe Innova makes that, as if I didn't know.
Innova makes the pig. Come on now. Yeah, that was first time I ever had a close encounter with a snapping turtle. It was chilling on the hill, and my disc about hit it. It's like, sorry, fella, I'll be out of your way in a second.
Yep.
Also encountered a dead beaver on that course.
Oh, man.
I had to straddle it to throw my next shot.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got a picture of it somewhere. We'll have to post it. But yeah, something tore that beaver up.
Oh, man.
They could be taken 2 ways.
Right.
But yeah, that's definitely a fun course to play. But like I said, that place was awesome because you could take a weekend, go there, camp, fish, play disc golf. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's nice because it's out of cell phone range, so you can really just escape from everything for a weekend or even just a day and around. You know.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember one of the last tournaments I played this year there that Scott Van Meter ran. A bunch of us in between rounds jumped in the lake and went swimming. It was so hot.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say it was probably August. And just a great, it was the perfect, idea too. I think Sam Darty had that idea.
Right.
I followed him right in. We just took I left my shorts on and I took my shoes off and just dove in, changed clothes after.
Right.
Felt great. Cooled me right down.
That's another thing we'll give you advice on for disc golf is always take extra socks, shoes, clothes, because you never know what you're going to run into.
You never do. You might get poured on. You might sweat to death and have soaking wet clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always suggest to people buy some waterproof shoes, and if you can't afford waterproof shoes, they make waterproof socks that are way cheaper, and they work great if you don't mind sweaty feet.
Yeah, because most tournaments you start out early in the morning, so the grass is still wet.
Always wet. Even in the summer times, I always wear waterproof shoes the first round.
Right, and then even if it's not going to rain that day, but rain beforehand, there's always them low spots that you could end up in, and go and get your feet wet.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, I think we're moving a little further away from even further than Forked Run.
Yeah, it's
to
about
Burr Oak State
it's
Park.
about a hour drive, a little over an hour.
A little
from
over
here.
an hour, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Burr Oak State Park. That one this year has gotten a lot of work done to it. I believe the park workers have done a bunch of work.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that Scott Van Meter designed it originally.
Oh yeah, and you can tell because of the challenges on the course.
Yeah, and the I believe the park employees have developed it even further than that. Really tough course. Great woods with lots of different shots and a lot of wooded holes, a few open.
Yeah,
definitely
first
a challenging.
couple's pretty open, and then you start working your way into the woods. And
Yeah, some long holes. If you play the blues, it's brutal.
Yeah,
absolutely brutal.
But the thing is, that is shout out to Scott Van Meter because his work speaks for itself. I mean, it really does. You can tell the courses that he's designed because they're always challenging.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what my least favorite hole on that course is, because the first time I played a tournament on that course, I got to hole 10. I stepped up to the tee pad. We're playing reds, which should be easier. Wasn't. And you get up to hole 10 and you're like, oh, wait a minute. This is like 500 feet, and the fairway is literally 10 feet wide.
Is that the one where the picnic table's right by the tee pad? We took a break on that day. Yeah. I stepped up to that one. Is like,
And then if you go off the fairway like I did multiple times, you end up, just
left or right.
bad. Yeah. And
you're bad
the first
left
time
or
I
right.
played it, the first time I played it, I throw a drive. It went a little ways, maybe 150 feet into the left side. I had to pitch it out literally 90 degrees from where I was, not towards the basket at all. So I didn't make any advancement in my second shot. I get up to the next shot, realize I didn't pitch it out far enough out of the stuff.
So you're still in the trees.
I wasn't really in the trees. I was just not in the right part of the fairway because I needed to be further right. I ended up left, and it was another nightmare. So the second throw, I ended up doing the same thing. I ended up going about 150 feet, had to pitch out again, 90 degrees. So 2 throws, I had gone about 300, or 4 throws, I had gone about 300 feet, and I still had 200 to go.
It definitely challenges your
So the
your
first time I
scramble
played
game.
that hole, I took a 10. It was so bad. And it was in a tournament, and I was almost crying at that point. And then I was playing with Scott on the card, and Scott looks over at me when we get close to the basket, and he says, yeah, I've been thinking about moving this basket way back there. You see that opening back there? I was like, yeah, like 150 feet. I was like, don't do it. Please, I beg you.
You don't need to.
No, you've already hard enough.
You've already challenged my scramble game.
Yes. But I realized after hanging out with Scott a number of times on some of his courses that he's designed that, like, if I hang out with him enough, he'll move every basket that much further back.
Right.
And because every time I play with him or work with him on a course, he's always talking about, let's move this one back to here.
Let's move it back.
Let's make it harder.
Let's push it back.
Yep. And he definitely likes to make them challenging.
Yeah, this year was the first time I played that course. I think it was a birthday round for me.
Yeah.
And I remember that hole because it was so hot that day. I got there and I couldn't decide if I was wanting to just not play anymore or if I was going to keep on going. And then I just, I got no quit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll give it a go. And I remember I pulled out something understable and tried to do a hyzer flip up, and it was looking good for the first 150 feet, and then it just barely grazed a tree. It's gone. See you, bye.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely a good challenging course. It's like you said, it's got a mixture of everything. It's got tight wooded shots. You got open shots. There's a couple opportunities for an ace run. I mean,
yeah.
because I remember the one hole I just literally used the putter off the tee pad because it wasn't that far out. But
yeah, I'd say there's quite a few chances for ace runs there, but there's also some super hard ones.
And we definitely got muddy that day because
the
bridge was washed out. There was like a mudslide.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
we had to help the ladies over.
Yeah, I had to pick up the cart and just carry it.
Yeah. That was a rough round. It was super hot, but muddy.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It was kind of a rainy summer this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to Ripley, West Virginia, we had Cedar Lakes disc golf course.
Cedar Lakes.
That's located in a state-owned facility.
Yeah.
Property.
Yeah.
And I believe they have 21 holes there.
I think so. Yeah.
I believe so. And that one's been rearranged a little bit in the last couple of years, but still super challenging. I know the wind tends to be a big factor there.
Yeah, wind's always a factor.
The lakes, going in the lake is a huge factor.
There's 2-3 holes you're throwing out over water.
Yeah, yeah. And there's
a couple parallel with the river.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you play blues, which I've had to play blues a few times in tournaments, and those blues just make the water be, it's that much more important to make it over.
Right.
I know there was one hole that I used to think I could get over it from the blue tee. I don't remember what hole that would be. It's probably around 15, I would think, maybe 16. But you're throwing across a lake. The blue tee is way further back than the red tee. The red tee you don't even have to throw across the lake. You're throwing on the right side of the lake.
Yeah, because I think if I throw from the blue with my distance, I'm going to end up in the lake.
Yeah.
With 300-foot drive.
Yeah, yeah. It probably is at least a 350 foot drive to get across the lake on the blues, and the wind's always a factor. So you better get it right. I think every time I've played the blues from that tee position, the first 3 times I played it, I ended up in the lake, almost dead center. Didn't even get halfway over. And the 4th time I decided to lay up short of the lake, and I laid up, it rolled in the lake. And so I think from now on I'll just keep trying to go over it and throw something I don't care about, I guess. One of these days I'll make it over. But regardless, it was the same score. If you lay up poorly, or if you try to go over it, you end up with the same score. So
yeah, I think probably one of the holes that I remember looking at going, "Are you kidding me?" was what is it, hole 9? It's like 150 feet, but it's straight up, straight uphill. I mean, like straight uphill.
Yeah.
Basically, to give you an idea, 150 feet uphill, I'm throwing a driver.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's that high uphill, that
and
steep.
I throw a really flippy I guess it's a fairway driver.
Yeah. Yeah. And you gotta hope and pray that thing don't kick up on edge and spin, because otherwise
yeah.
Your shot's going to roll all the way back down the hill past the tee pad and OB.
Yeah, yep.
It's definitely a tough hole.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them land up perfectly by the basket, catch an edge and just roll 200 feet back down the hill. Yeah. Behind you, you're on the tee pad and it's 50 feet behind you. I actually saw someone do that when we were walking up to the tee, and they yelled at us to look out, and the disc rolled past us. Yeah, it was bad. And yeah, there's a lot of good holes there, and a lot of holes to lose your disc on if you're not careful. And well, let's move on to. Looks like we're on to
the Rotary in Huntington.
Yeah, I guess we're moving down to Huntington, Rotary Park, and I believe Rotary Park has multiple layouts. I think it was Rotary Red and what was the other? Indian Rock.
Indian Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the other one.
We played both of those in, was that January or February?
I believe it was January. I don't know.
I don't really remember.
All I know is it was freaking cold and it was pouring down the rain.
It was. I remember I got poison ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a bad
That was the turn we both showed up with carts and walked up and was like, nope, no carts. Went back to the car.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Did we use our carts the second round on the Indian Rock?
No, because Indian Rock was like a lot of hiking, a lot of uphill. I mean, it was pretty. That's right. It was pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough course.
Because one of couple of the holes, you're up on top of the hill and you can look over all of Huntington. I mean, it's a beautiful view, but at the same time, the hike up there is it's a hike for sure.
Yep. And I somehow got a second place in that tournament.
I didn't. I did all right the first round on the Rotary, but once we got up into Indian Rock, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Because there was one hill it took me 15 minutes just to get down the hill because you had to think about every step because it was muddy. There was no steps, or at least no, there was steps. They started out, but then once you got about halfway down, there wasn't any more steps left. You're just trying to walk down a muddy path.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That was a little bit tough to walk on. I remember that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some climbing in areas.
Yeah, because I think that was around the time that I ended up being down for a while with plantar fasciitis.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I know that course. Maybe if they hear this, they'll put a few steps in
Right.
in a couple places.
When you're using your bag as a support to get down the hill, that's not good.
No. Yeah, but fun courses.
Oh yeah.
Nevertheless.
Oh yeah. I think on a good dry day, it wouldn't be bad at all.
No, I probably wouldn't. And like a warm day.
Yeah. Right. Not cold and rain.
Yeah. Well, it looks like the next one we have listed here is Hippo Ridge, and I'm trying to think of where that one is.
It is located. It's either considered Stewart or Guysville,
That's what I
Ohio.
thought, Guysville, yeah.
But we talked about that course in the first episode, and shout out Ken Sanson for building that course. He's been working on it since 1993.
I think so, or 96 maybe.
Yeah, somewhere.
It was in the
around
90s.
there. Yeah,
it's been over 20 years.
Yeah, it's been over 20 years.
You can tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And just you can tell from his passion.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite hole on that one? On any layout, because there's like
on any
I think 4 layouts now.
Yeah, because it's definitely been redone quite a few times.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say that one of my favorite holes, just because it's a fun shot, is
hole 10.
Hole 10.
Yeah.
You stand up on top of
That's
the hill. The basket it's a wide open field.
Yeah.
Until about 60 feet, 70 feet from the basket, then the woods come into play.
Yeah.
But it's such an awesome shot because
it's at least 100 feet of elevation with at least a 350 foot shot.
And the thing is, it looks like you can just step up and just rip one down there, but what you don't realize is there's a lot of crosswind.
Yeah.
So, because I've seen a lot of guys throw something understable and it just held that line and just kept going right.
Yeah, sure does.
But yeah, it's one of the most fun holes to throw just because you're stand up on top. It's a full rip, to get down there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite too. I would say probably most people think that's their favorite as well.
I think my next favorite is the next hole after that.
Yeah, the big long one.
The big
going
long
out to the
one.
field, the par 5. Yeah.
I think what was it this year? I shocked myself because I birdied that one.
Nice. That's a great birdie.
Yeah.
Takes like 4 good throws to birdie that one.
Yeah. I had first shot was a good rip on a driver. Picked up the same driver, ripped on it again, and then I had a beautiful upshot with a mid-range, and it was just pretty much like a 15-foot putt for the bird.
Nice.
And they're like, yeah, you got a birdie. I'm like, what? I got a birdie?
Yeah.
It's like usually it takes me like 6-7 shots to get here because they end up hitting a tree or
you hit a tree early
downhill.
On that. You hit a tree early on that one. It's bad.
The crazy one was watching Conrad throw a putter.
Yeah.
Because we were playing
Whites, weren't we?
We were playing whites, but we're also playing the card game.
Yeah. That's right.
What's it called?
Ripped Revenge.
Yep, Ripped Revenge, and he got the card played on. Well, we got the card played on all of us, where you had to drive with your putter and putt with your driver on that hole, and he threw a driver off the tee box, and I'm like, man, I can't even get my driver to go that far. So, but yeah, it's a pretty fun hole.
Yeah.
It's long, but I still like it,
Yep. Yeah,
and that course is a lot of fun because you got all the hippos too.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
There's hippos throughout the whole course. Like the entrance when you're coming up the driveway, there's hippos lining the entrance, and there's one that it's a blank hippo and it says this hippo is blank.
Yeah.
And then my favorite's after the long hole. You get out there, there's the one that's painted like a bumblebee, and I always call it the hippie.
Yeah. I like it.
But
yeah, there's a few out there. There's one that it looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
With like people in it.
Oh, that's up by hole 10.
Yeah.
Up on the hill.
Yeah.
The NASA one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool.
And I think he's adding more.
Yeah, he's always adding more.
Yeah, he's always adding more. So that's one of the cool things about Hippo Ridge is there's hippos throughout the whole course.
Yeah, yeah, they're pretty cool. All right, well, I guess we're moving. Well, let's go to. Let's see, Armco, since that's in. Oh no, that's not the right Armco. Well, I guess we can move on up to Portage Lakes.
Yeah, that's in Akron, Canton, Ohio area.
Yep.
Beautiful course.
Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
It's a state park, so there's what, like skate park, there's a boat ramp. I think probably 70 feet off the basket on hole 10 you can run over to the beach and go for a swim in the lake. I mean, it's just a cool place. You can go camping, all kinds of stuff, but that is just a beautiful course because it goes around the whole lakes. You're always by water.
Yep. Bunch of challenging holes.
Bunch of
over the water holes that are. If you end up in the water, you're
over
probably
the
never
water.
seeing
Well,
it.
don't forget the one by the dog park. The basket's out on a peninsula.
Yeah.
So you got to watch your upshot, otherwise you're going to end up in the lake.
Yep. Yeah, there's some fun ones.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's one of those places. It's kind of crazy because it's like it never grows up. Like the tree coverage just keeps everything.
That's
dead.
funny. I was going to say that same thing. They've kept those weeds. Well, they started out by trimming them well enough that they just never grew back.
Right.
Or at least a lot of them, and they did a tremendous job. I mean, it like there's pretty much just dirt, on the fairways, and there's like it's hard to lose a disc on that course for sure. I don't think I've ever lost a disc on that. I don't even think I've had to look very long on that course.
No, I haven't. And the funny thing is I just realized this, but I think that's the first course that I've ever played that I've never ended up in water.
Yeah, I did. One time I tried a big huge shot. Should have never tried it.
Caught that one limb.
I don't think I even caught a limb. I just yanked it right, and I needed a hyzer left, and it didn't hyzer nearly enough. And I should have read the wind on the guy before me, didn't, and just yanked it. And it was at least 20 feet out in the water. I didn't even look for it. Just re-teed.
But yeah, that course is, like I said, it's beautiful. It's awesome. Hole 10, it's like the staple of the course because they call it the lighthouse hole. Yeah, and the basket, the basket is an elevated basket, but the cage and the chains is like the part of the lighthouse where the light is, and the elevated part the basket is sitting on, it's a whole wood lighthouse built, and then the basket's on top of it. Yeah. And it's definitely...
I think that's got to be at least 6 feet off the ground, that basket. I know I'm almost looking right into the basket on that one.
Yeah.
It's up there a ways.
Yeah, it's up there a ways, and it's only, 3 feet off the water? Yeah. Is where the basket is. So it's a challenging shot, but it's definitely an iconic hole there. The other one that I like is, I'm trying to think, is it 13? It's the island hole. Because when you first get there, you pull into the parking lot, and there's a loop at the end where you can go down, come around, and leave. And in that loop, there's an island, and they have a basket there. Yeah. And they have it two different ways. There's a normal basket, and then there's an elevated basket. But that hole it's a fun one because it plays mind games with you. It's not that far out, but you got to decide whether you want to lay up or if you want to go for the island. Yeah. And I've laid up and I've gone for the island and made the island a couple times, but it's a fun hole because it gives you that mind game a little bit, like, can I make this or should I just lay up and play it safe? Right. But that's definitely
it's one of those holes you get to in a tournament and you're like, am I playing well today or do I just lay up?
You got to question yourself and how you've been doing before you decide whether you're going to throw on that one, but it's still a fun hole. Yeah. Because it's only like two something
like that
to the basket.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I threw a pig on that one. It's a little bit uphill.
Yeah, it's just slightly
but it's not
uphill.
A crush at all. And that's a fun one.
But you got trees to...
A lot of trees in the way.
Definitely. There's a lot of trees.
There's kind of a line you have to hit. Yeah. And I don't even think it's a straight line, really. I mean, you could go straight at it, I guess, but I don't know that if you hyzer, you're out of bounds for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it's more of, I don't know, I used to throw kind of a flex shot at that and see if I could get it up
I think
there.
the last time I threw that hole, I just found my stable mid-range and just threw straight at it.
Yeah.
As long as you keep it on that line and let it go straight at it, you should be fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to, looks like Flat Rocks.
Flat Rocks, yes. That was...
I haven't played that course yet.
It is in Lancaster, Ohio, which from here is about an hour and a half. And believe it or not, that was a U-disc fine.
Nice.
Me and my buddy went on a trip. We played Portage Lakes. Then we went and visited some family in the Columbus area. And on the way back home, we decided to try to find a course to play. So we got on U-disc and was looking up courses and seen Flat Rocks and seen the ratings on it from people that reviewed it and everything. And it had good ratings. So we're like, that's not that far. So we stopped there, and it was a Sunday. I think it was Father's Day, and we got there, and they had a league going. There was Mennonites playing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there was Mennonites out there with bags and discs, and they're out there throwing, and it was kind of a nice environment because everybody that was there was like, hey, for the whole ones over here, and they even invited us to come back up and play league on a Sunday. And it's like, man, if we didn't have to drive an hour and a half, we would. But
Yeah.
It's a really cool course. It is definitely challenging, but the way they have the course set up, it's pretty cool because there's some holes where you're teeing on a hill, but you can't see where the basket is. So behind the tee pad, they have a wood platform built that you can go up on and see where the basket is, and then go back down and tee your shot.
That's pretty neat.
So that's pretty cool. And then they have holes that are in an open field, but instead of only having everything mowed down, every 3 feet there would be a path mowed, and then there would be tall grass. So you had short, tall, short, tall. So it was just kind of stripes. So that way, when you threw and you went out to the fairway, you could be like, okay, I am this many rows in and know where your disc is, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very interesting course because like I said, it's got some open shots and then, kind of blind shots and stuff like that. But there is woods, there's some drop offs and stuff. But yeah, it was definitely a fun course to play.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool with that tower that you were talking about, where you can.
Oh yeah,
Must
it's
take a
pretty
lot of
neat
work
because
to
we were
put
like,
that in
man, we
there.
can't see the basket, and right behind the tee
Yeah.
pad, there's the tower, and you just step up on there and you can see
I'm
everything.
trying to remember, somewhere in Washington there was a periscope that you looked up over a hill, and it was a super long this thing, it was way up in the air, and that's how you saw the basket. It was pretty neat, and you could tell it was a homemade periscope. I mean, it was just some sheet metal that was folded with 2 mirrors in it, or 3 or whatever they took. And but it was pretty neat. You could see the basket. I know that. Not that it helps much because you're looking through a bunch of mirrors and you have no idea how far away it is or anything. But you do at least know where it is.
Right. Yeah.
And then I know a bunch of us actually looked back at the periscope to see which way it was facing after we were done to know okay, that's where it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty neat. I wish I remember which course that was because someone put a lot of work into that periscope, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And the bracket that was holding it was pretty intense too. Yeah. All right. Well, let's. Looks like we're moving on to Whispering Cave, which, from what I looked up, I believe Whispering Cave is closed for the next couple of years until they get done with some construction on their.
Yeah, and that is located in a town it's about an hour, a little over an hour from here. It's called Logan, Ohio.
Yeah.
And Whispering Cave is actually built. If you go in that area, it's called Hocking Hills, and all that area there's all kinds of hiking trails and stuff like that. There's if you ever get online, Google Old Man's Cave and Hocking Hills.
That place.
It's beautiful. I mean, as a kid, we went one day and I think we walked 12 miles in those caves and stuff like that just in a day. And I mean, the scenery is awesome. And Whispering Cave is the same way. That course is built just all in that. Like there's one where you're standing on top of one hill and you're looking down the valley and the basket's on top of the hill on the other side. So your elevation change when you walk down from the tee pad back up to the basket is like 100 foot down, 100 foot back up. But the basket's only, maybe, I knew I threw a mid-range on it, so it's only at least 250 or 270 to get to the basket. So I ripped a mid-range on that
I kind of like those holes, because if you go bad, it's bad.
It's bad, but...
But they're usually aceable, too, because there's usually like a backstop behind those baskets.
And when did we play that course this year?
I don't think I played that one, did I? Or did we play? Oh, yeah,
no, we did.
That's right.
Because there was still snow on the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Jim...
That had to be after the tournament in either January or February. I'm going to say March, probably.
But yeah, it was March, and there was still snow on the ground. Because Jim was throwing white discs. I'm like, man, you're out here playing a course that has snow on it still, and you're throwing all white discs. But that one's kind of cool too, because there's cabins you can rent, and some of the cabins are right off some of the fairways.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's why they're closed right now. Is they're
renovating the cabins.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say that it's probably time for that, because those cabins have been around since before the disc golf course. So.
Wow. Yeah.
And then next in line is right in that same area. It's at Hocking College. Yeah. It's right there at the college, but it's Hocking. That's that's definitely a challenging course for sure.
It's a little short, but super challenging as far as some of the lines you have to play.
Right.
A lot of drop-offs behind the basket, like short hole, but drop off behind the basket if you go too far.
Basically, first couple holes give you hope because it doesn't look too bad. They're just short shots, it's kind of open. Then you get up in the woods and it's like, oh, it's got some teeth bearing.
Yeah.
Because there's, I can't remember what the hole number is, but there's one you're teeing off top of one hill, and the basket's on top of another hill, and it's only a couple 100 feet, but you got a dry creek bed in between. But to the left of that, you have a sheer drop. I mean, it's probably 150 feet just straight off the side where the basket is. So you either got to lay up or stay to the right side, which a friend of mine from Michigan, we did an ace race at that course, and that was the first time I ever played there. But
nice.
On the third round, where we were just playing for fun before they went back home to Michigan, he almost aced that hole. He hit the chains on the basket, but it didn't stick.
Yeah.
And he had a shoulder mount GoPro on when he did it, so that was kind of a cool view to watch.
That would seem like it'd be in the way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Right, but I mean, if you think about it, if it's here, you're not focusing on that camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could see that. I mean, if it would feel weird if you're not used to it.
Right. I feel like my shoulder comes around faster than my head does, so it'd like smack me in the face or something. Sometimes on a bad throw.
That's definitely an interesting hole to play.
Yeah. And
then the other one I like is one where you're back down around the college. I think it's hole 17. You're shooting through the row of trees. There's a row of trees on each side, and the basket's dead straight in the middle.
Yeah, that was fun.
Because you can do all kinds of stuff with that one. You can throw a forehand hyzer.
Yeah, you can
or
roll
a backhand hyzer. You can roll it, or you can just try to go right up the gut to the basket, which Mike did that one day. Which is usually
what I do, but it doesn't always work out.
Yep, Mike threw one right up the gut, hit it right in the chains, dead center of the pole, and it spit it out. We got up there and got to looking, and someone had cut chains out of the basket.
Oh man!
And I think that if those chains would have been there, it probably would have stuck.
Yeah.
But
that's awful.
No, that's definitely fun course to play for sure. Challenging, technical, a lot of hiking. Good scenery though.
Yeah.
And we did a putting thing at the end of that ace race. It was kind of neat. It was like a knockout.
Yeah.
So you stood so far from the basket, and then you threw your putt.
Yeah.
And if it went in, you just
ring of fire.
No, not like a ring of fire. It was like knockout, like basketball knockout.
Oh, wow.
Where you take your first shot, but if you miss the person behind you, if they make it before you, then you're out.
Oh, wow.
But we did it that way.
Yeah.
So you're running up, and I think the distance was like 25 or 30 feet, but you had to throw your putt, and if you missed, then you knew that person behind you can putt and knock you out. So you're running, but you have to run, grab your disc, then go back out to another section that far away and throw a putt again. So I ran my ass off on that, but it was a blast.
I bet.
It was a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting too old for knockout. All that running around, I don't know if I do that all that much anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I used to play a lot of it. That's for sure. That's definitely a game that will make you better.
Yeah.
Like forces you to focus very quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
And, or lose a bunch if you like losing.
I stayed in it for a good while. I think I made it to like the last 5 in there, but my God, I was out of breath from running so much.
Right.
But it was still fun.
Yeah. Well, where are we moving on to now?
We're going to move on to the tail end of my 21 courses that I've played, and the last few that I have are all in the Mason, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Lebanon, Ohio area. I have some friends I met through another disc golfer. They're actually sponsored by a disc company, and they used to do disc reviews. They still do those, but this year I think was the first year they were actually sponsored for tournaments and stuff. But Tyler and Taylor Kunkus in Cincinnati, shout out to them, shout out to their sponsor MVP. They held a couple events last year or 2 years ago, but they had a MVP circuit event or circuit challenge, whichever you want to call it. Those are interesting events because you pay your $30, you get a player's pack, which consists of that year we went, it was already a putter that they make and a driver that they make, but the mid-range was their mid-range that they were testing out, which is now in production. It's called the Pyro. But you pay your $30, you get the shirt, the 3 discs, and then like if you're the first 25 signed up in the tournament, you get what they call a watermelon disc, and it actually does literally look like a watermelon. But you have to be the first 25 signed up in any of those events, and I was fortunate enough to get one of those because it's a big collector's item for MVP discs. But played that event. It was a lot of fun. We played it at Mount Airy, which is in Cincinnati, and shout out to all the guys that work at the Natty and Mount Airy's disc golf course. The Natty is the actual local shop there on the course, and it's a great shop. I mean, they always keep everything in stock. Those guys work their butts off, and matter of fact, one of the trips up there, we actually went up and helped. We didn't have anything to do until our friends got off work to play around, so we went to the Natty and was looking at discs and bought some, and then we ended up actually sitting there and helped him price and put up the MVP stock that he had just got shipped in.
Nice.
So that was definitely an interesting thing to see and do, like have to go through the discs and price them all out and check them all in. So that was interesting. But yeah, it's definitely Mount Airy is the course we did that event on, where the Natty's at, and it's definitely it's a pretty cool course to play. It's got some open shots, it's got technical shots, and one of the things they like about it is they have an actual practice basket, where you can practice your putts, but they also have a concrete pad with a net where you can actually full rip your shots into the net and practice your drives and things like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But and the disc golf shop, it's built like in an old cabin. It's kind of neat. You can just by looking at the outside, and then definitely when you go inside, like all the wood, and there's like huge pieces of wood, so you can tell it was like an old cabin at one point in time. But it's a pretty neat place. If you're ever in that area, Cincinnati, Ohio, you definitely want to check out Mount Airy and check out the Natty. We actually have one of our local pros, Corey Ellis.
Yeah.
One of his sponsors is the Natty out of Cincinnati.
Big fan of Corey Ellis.
Oh,
shout out to Corey.
Yes, shout out to Corey.
Bought a bunch of discs from Corey. Support him on his tour.
Yep, I bought one of his tour discs with him on it and had him sign it, and it's hanging up in my office at work right now. And
yeah, I got a few of them up on the wall out there in the office. Yeah. Yeah, big fan. Yeah, well, keep going. I think there's a few more courses there in Cincinnati.
I know the first trip I went up there, my buddy and I, we played 3 new courses in 3 days, which was Mount Airy. There was another one, Arco Park. It's in Lebanon, Ohio. It's definitely it's a very cool course to play. Like I said, I've only got to play it once, so my memory of the course is kind of vague. But all the courses that we played up there, they were all fun and challenging, and had all kinds of different shots that would test you. And then there's actually 2 courses, I can't remember what the names of them are, but Arco Park is also the course where my friends Tyler and Taylor, when they would do their disc reviews for MVP discs and stuff, that is actually the park that they use to do the review videos on. So if you ever want to get online and check out their YouTube channel, it's TK Disc Golf. All their review videos are on there, and these guys are twin brothers, and like I said, they've both been playing for years, and they actually have a couple twin battles on there that's pretty cool to watch, to see who wins, and that's also filmed at Arco Park. So
nice,
pretty neat place. That's definitely got little short shots and then some kind of long technical ones as well. And then another one we played was Monroe County or Community Park. That's a neat course to play too. But like I said, there was 2 other ones we played, but I can't remember the names of. But I know one of them, our friend Tyler and Taylor said, "Oh, it's a pitch and putt," and it's like it is for them, because I remember one hole was 500 and some feet, and I was like, I don't consider that a pitch and putt, but
no, I don't either.
it was definitely a small technical course to play, but it was definitely a lot of fun. But I like going to Cincinnati and playing. It's definitely a lot of fun. There's some good food places to eat too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where I learned about Mission Barbecue. That's a good place to get some good barbecue. Yeah. And the first time we went, we ate at it's called Two Cities or Twin Cities Pizza, and it's actually ranked like in the top 5 on the East Coast of pizza places to eat at. Yeah, they got some dang good pizza.
I know last time I was in Cincinnati, I was introduced to Jungle Jim's grocery store.
Never
heard of that?
No.
Oh man, they have like some of the best food, super healthy food in there. They have they have everything, but there was like a lot of healthy food in there. But you can also, like, they have a whole like a winery, and you can buy beer, walk around with it while you're shopping. You can buy it by the cup or the keg or whatever. I mean, they'll sell it.
That's kind of like shopping when you're hungry, because you just buy junk.
Yeah.
So imagine shopping when you're drunk. Reese cups.
Yeah. I know they had at least like 3 aisles of cheese, and they have it separated by country. Yeah, it was impressive.
Wow.
So they have like Germany, and here's their cheeses. America, here's our cheeses, and so on. And
that's pretty neat though, because I like trying new things like that.
Yeah. And it was one of those stores that if you like food, you can walk in and be there all day.
Well, I definitely like food.
Yeah. Me and you need to go there for sure. It was an experience for me, because I didn't know there was even a place like that in the whole United States, to be honest with you.
Right.
And I enjoyed myself. We went there we went to visit for like 2 days, 3 days, and we went there twice. We liked it so much. Yeah. Well.
That pretty much wraps up my 21 courses that I've played in the last 4 or 5 years that I've been playing disc golf.
Yeah. Well, we're going to make it a goal to get you to 50, and hopefully we can get you to 50 in maybe the next month or so, couple months. And what are some of the courses that you've heard about or seen on tournament coverage on YouTube or whatever that you've been thinking about?
First course I'm going to start out with, it's definitely on my list of ones that I want to play, is shout out to Jared Black, but the Black 9.
Yeah.
Because I know that one's going to be pretty easy. Just got to get a hold of him, go out there and play, but it's local to us. It's only about an hour drive, but that's definitely the next one on the list that I want to play and check out.
Yeah.
But as far as it goes with like the PDGA tour, man, there's just so many courses. But some of my favorites that I'd like to play, which one of them is Idlewild disc golf course.
That looks gorgeous.
It's in, I forget the name of the town. It's in Kentucky, but I can't remember the name of the town. But it's actually only like what'd you say, like 15 miles from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, shout out again to Natty Disc Golf. They're the ones that actually run that event and do all the work on the course and all that. So
Wow.
shout out to them guys. They're the ones, because this year, until COVID hit, originally I was on a list of people to be there to spot or caddy for the pros, but then COVID hit and that didn't happen. So, but that's definitely on the list because it's only about a 3-hour drive from here, I think. And then, oh man, definitely De La Viega out in California for sure.
Yeah.
I know it's a stupid tough course, but it's one of them ones that I just want to go try and say, hey, I played that course.
Yeah.
You know, it might have kicked my ass.
Yeah, it probably will.
I was there. Yeah, right? Yeah, that's...
He probably kicked my butt too.
That's
for sure.
Definitely another one.
Yeah.
And then some of the ones on my list is you're from Washington, and you've talked about some of the courses there, and I'd like to go there and play some of the courses that you learned to play on. And
yeah, one of my favorites and the first course I ever played, it was developed by the West Sound Disc Golf Association and some of their founders, and it's probably one of the longest courses that's been around in Kitsap County, where the West Sound runs everything. NAD Park it's in an old growth forest. Most of the trees are fairly large. It's got a great canopy on it, so there's not a lot of undergrowth. Probably the only undergrowth that's ever there is ferns, and it has about every shot that you can think of. That most of the holes force you to take a certain line, and every line is slightly different than the last. And so you know you're either forced to throw forehands or try to force something. If you're right-handed to the right, you know, left-handed to the well, I guess a left-handed person would probably have a better job or better time on those holes. But yeah, it's definitely got really a variety of all the different shots, and just a beautiful forest with some of the coolest trees. Some trees that have there's this one tree on that property. The tree fell, stayed alive somehow, and kept growing out at that angle, and then somehow another tree grew out of this like dirt spot in like a knot, and grew out of that, but grew into that tree and out of it. It's amazing what nature can do. But yeah, it was a very interesting looking tree. And then there's another one I remember taking a picture of Haley, my daughter, next to. It's at least 4 times bigger than she was back then, and maybe even 6 or 7 times wider, I mean. And huge tree, just an enormous, I believe it's a sequoia tree, or a redwood. It's one or the other, but big monster tree. And yeah, there's a lot of them in that forest that are pretty big, and they just kind of make you think about how long time's been around, and kind of how insignificant we are,
right,
and that they've been around way longer than we have, and they'll be around that much longer, and some of the things they've seen, some of the bad shots they've seen, and
or hits they've taken.
Yeah, that too. That's one of those trees you can't help but hit it. It's got a number of marks on it. Luckily, it's far enough down the fairway; it doesn't hurt it too bad. But yeah, I know out in Washington there was a number of courses that I don't know there were tree societies and stuff like that would go in and say like, hey, you guys are killing these trees that are going to be extinct soon, so you need to protect these trees. And so the club would go in and put some type of rubber protector on that side of the tree that was getting beat up really bad. And trees usually live. If you do it early enough, they'll live. It's not a bad idea when you're there's a tree in the middle of a fairway that's not that far off the tee pad. It's probably a good idea to protect it so it doesn't fall down. Yeah, and then some of the other parks I played up there, SeaTac. SeaTac, I believe, is a 21-hole course, or at least it was back then. It has literally every shot in the book. There's wide open, huge bombs. There's huge bombs and super tight technical shots. There's some holes that almost force you to play a roller because the ceiling's really low. It's the first hole or the first course I ever threw a roller on because there wasn't really any other shot, and that's a tough one. And I've taken some really bad scores in tournaments on that course. And
my problem is I don't throw rollers. I just have throwlers.
Throwlers, yes.
Unintentional rollers.
Right. Yeah, that'll happen sometimes, especially in a headwind. And yeah, and then Pier Park is another one that one's down in Portland, and that one's really interesting because it's almost like it seems like it's downtown Portland, and then there's this huge I think it's like 100 acres. It's a huge park, enormous park that it takes you a while to play it, and it's super old growth forest. So the tree, none of you can't even wrap your arms around most of the trees, and sometimes there's elevation in the property. I know there's one hole where the tee pad is up at least 50 feet, higher than the basket, and so you're kind of throwing at the middle of 100-foot tall tree. You know what I mean? But it's still in your way. You know what I mean? You're just like, okay, this is rough. Like I don't know. It was just a weird view to see, these giant trees. Because usually if you're throwing 50 foot down, you're throwing over top of trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here, you're just throwing in the middle of them. Like you're still in, giant forest or whatever. And but that one's a really hard course. Super technical. Definitely have to know how to throw some S shots and some forced, flex shots with the forehand and stuff like that. And definitely you won't lose your disc anywhere there. There's not a single, they mow the grass and everything. It's just an absolutely gorgeous course. And in a huge park, which is so stunning to be, right almost in the middle of Portland. And definitely one of my favorites. I'll never forget that one. I'll definitely have to go back and play that one of these days. And the last one I'll probably give a shout out to today anyway is Horseshoe Lake Golf Course, which has a disc golf course on it. Horseshoe Lake Golf Course, the owner worked with the West Sound Disc Golf Association and allowed them to develop a disc golf course on it. And probably a lot of the reason being that golf is kind of, regular golf is kind of dying these days. And I'm sure he was looking for some more financial support, and
right.
Getting the disc golfers to come and pay to play was, a really good way to help, supplement his income and keep that course alive. And it's still alive today. And he thanks the West Sound Disc Golf, or the WSDGA is what they're called. He thanks them all the time, and they've got a great relationship. That club really has a great relationship with a lot of the parks and rec departments in Kitsap County, and they just do so many good things for the properties and keep them well kept. Lots of volunteers up there in that club, and
because we were saying work parties, you'd have anywhere from 40 to 50 disc golfers show up just to do coursework.
Yeah. And I remember building a couple tee pads one time. We had 40 people show up, and I was thinking, like, we don't need 40 people here. We all mostly stood around. I remember mixing some concrete for about 5 minutes. That was all I did the whole day. And we were only pouring 2 tee pads. You know what I mean? It's just like, well, okay, I guess we're all here to have fun.
It's not like here we got 4 people showing up and your hands are bleeding, you're sweating.
Yeah, back's broken.
Yeah.
But I find that here, in the beginning when I first moved here, I was definitely frustrated with that aspect, that there wasn't a lot of volunteers. I have, or at least I hope that I have motivated some people to come out and start helping a little more often. Just, by putting the work in. I keep trying to tell people that, I've only been here for 5 years. If you've been here longer than me and you haven't done as much work, you better get to work. And I've basically built or helped build 3 courses, and if you haven't done even one course yet, step it up, and
definitely get out there and see what it's
do
about.
Something, come out and maybe even if the least thing you can do is when you see a post on Facebook about a local tournament or a local course being developed or a work party, share it.
What can I do to help?
Share it.
Yeah.
All you have to do is point and click to share something on Facebook or
Yeah.
Instagram or whatever, and that's a minimum, that you can do. Another super easy thing is while you're walking through the course and you got your bag with you and stuff, take a little grocery bag or something, tie it to your bag, and pick up a little bit of garbage while you're there. And I know tons of disc golfers that do that. I myself is definitely one of them.
Yeah, because it does get annoying when you're out there trying to find a disc and you're like, oh, I see something.
Yeah,
and
it's just
stupid
garbage.
Styrofoam plate or paper
Yeah.
plate or
Oh man, that's the worst. Yeah, and
gives you that false hope that you
yeah,
found it.
that you found it. Yeah, yeah, and it's just not nice to see garbage in the woods. I tell
No.
people all the time that most of the time you carried that garbage in, it weighed more when you took it in because it had something in it. And if you can't mash it up and carry it out, then you're just shameful. I feel like the amount of work that I put into disc golf, I don't even want you on my course, to be honest with you.
Well, in all reality, most people take bottles of water with them. It's not that hard when you're done with the bottle of water. I do it myself. I'll take
Yeah.
a cap and just kind of half screw it on and then twist the bottle up
Yeah.
and then tighten the cap all the way. You compact it down, put
That's
it in your
it.
bag.
It's way smaller. It's way lighter. You know what I mean? And if you carried it in, I guarantee you can carry it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're littering on courses, I'm just going to tell you, you're shameful. Don't do it.
Yeah, because we even play with guys that don't even, they flick the cherry off their cigarette and put the cigarette butt in their pocket or in their bag.
Absolutely. When I smoked, that's what I did.
Yep, I did the same thing.
Definitely. And I felt like, I already smell like an ashtray. What does it hurt to put a butt in your pocket?
Right.
I mean, that's the truth. You
Right.
already stink, so you might as well just keep stinking. And
But that's
Yeah.
one thing about disc golf. It's the little things.
yeah,
The little things that are a big help that count.
yeah,
Simple promotion of a tournament, share it.
absolutely.
New course going up, which we got one. There were, I don't know when it's supposed to happen, but it's about 45 minutes from here.
Yeah,
The thing that irritated me was just the negativity on it from the community, because
Yeah.
they'd rather have other things, and it's like, well, disc golf is family oriented. You can take kids out and do it, and it's not expensive.
yeah, I agree.
You can go to Play It Again and buy used discs. I mean, that's how I started out.
Yeah,
My whole bag was from Play It Again.
yeah, yeah. That's funny.
Or you know people like us now that play tournaments and we have a bunch of discs at home that we don't even use.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's take a break, Justin. Whew. All right, Justin. I think we're gonna wrap it up here,
Yep.
and I think we have a little way to go to get to your road to 50. Looks like we got 29 courses to hit. That might take a little longer than a couple months, maybe.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to make it happen in that time, and this is probably some of the best time of the year to play anyway, and hopefully it doesn't start raining too soon.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, just stay tuned for the road to 50, and we're going to be uploading some pictures and videos from local courses, and we're going to start filming more rounds and things like that, especially for the road to 50 and different tournaments and stuff we play, just kind of give you an inside view of what it's like, because I mean, videos, we're going to be recording like the drives down, or just things like that, some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
we'll definitely have more content to upload.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Me too.
All right, till next week.
Till next week.
Talk to you later, man.